community.
Now, Eric, we have time for about three more rapid-fire questions, so I'll ask a question, and Phil and Tammy, then we're gonna do a group photo. We're gonna do a group photo. So if you wanna get in the photo, psychologically, physically prepare yourself to be within the photo range. Andrew, grab the camera, grab the lens. Jackie, grab Andrew. Everybody grab Andrew. If you're Andrew, grab yourself. Get ready for the photo. We'll be doing that. But I have a question for you. Sean, will you pull up the photo real quick here? The Clark kids on the screen here. Here you go, Eric. Right here on the screen in front of us. There we go. I'm sorry, Eric, the other way. We're going this way. Right here. There we go. Yeah. So this is our family. And Eric has lowered his standards, and he's invited the Clark kids to visit Mar-a-Lago here in February. So the kids are excited. But I've got 4 daughters, you know, so it's my daughter to the right, Angelina, then my son Aubrey, then you got Havana, and then we're hanging out with Dr. Navarro, he's a good buddy of mine, and that's Scarlett and Leia, and then my wife. And they're asking me, Dad, what should we wear? What should we wear? With their women, you know, a lot of estrogen. I'm going, I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna take at least 10 minutes of this event and ask Eric, because Eric, what's allowed to wear? What can the girls wear? What is acceptable at Mar-a-Lago? It's a club. You've lowered your standards for a couple days to allow me to sneak in. My great family, they'll be there. What should they wear? What can the girls not wear, Eric?
But by the way, I always say how Clay landed his wife is nothing short of exceptional to me. It's like, it's unbelievable. It's like, but I've actually never seen Clay. You know, he's actually got a more restricted dress code than even Donald Trump, because at least Donald Trump will get into golf clothing. Does that make sense? It's either a suit or golf clothing. I've actually never seen Clay Clark out of a suit and sneakers, right? Like that's like the Clay Clark wardrobe. And so people make fun of me for having a wardrobe because it's either a suit or like shorts and a polo. But Clay Clark is always in a suit. So Clay, you just wear your suit. We will embrace you for the good friend that you are. Your wife and daughters have tremendous class.
Okay.
And so I'm not worried about them, but you are gonna fit in beautifully, and you're gonna have the time of your life.
Now, Scarlett, this one here, the one in the back, the tall one there next to Dr. Navarro, she's really concerned about what to wear. Anything in particular she can't wear, you know?
Nothing.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah,
now we've got
maybe that's one thing that she can't wear is nothing. But yeah, but
we're a lot of things.
You've got incredibly great kids, and they're beautiful, and I have no doubt that they're gonna nail this.
I've watched people chase after success like it's some wild animal just waiting to be caught. They want the trophy, the applause, the bigger bank account. But here's what life taught me early on. Before any of that can last, before it can even mean something, you have to lay down the foundation. And that foundation is called character. Success pulls back the curtain, shines a spotlight, and says, here's who you really are. Not who you pretend to be, not who you want others to think you are. The real you. And if the real you isn't strong, if there are cracks in the foundation, everything you've built starts to shake. I've seen people win big only to lose even bigger. Why? Because they rushed to build the top floors before pouring the concrete below. Success came, all right, but it exposed what was missing underneath. Maybe it was discipline, maybe it was honesty, maybe it was humility. Whatever it was, it got revealed. So, let me ask you, what kind of foundation are you building? Not what do you want, but what do you stand on? But values don't mean much until they're tested, and that's where pressure comes in. Everybody faces it. Pressure at work, at home, with money, with relationships. The world has a way of squeezing you, testing you, putting you right up against the wall. But here's something I learned, and I hope you never forget it. Pressure doesn't destroy character. It exposes it. When things are going well, when the path is smooth and the sun is shining, anyone can look good. Anyone can talk about doing the right thing. But wait until the wind starts howling, the bills stack up, the deal goes sideways. Suddenly, all those good intentions are put to the test. What do you do then? That's when you see what you're really made of. See, under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on your habits, your training, your preparation. If you've built good habits, you'll stand firm. If you haven't, you'll start looking for a way out, a shortcut, an excuse. Pressure simply reveals the work you've done or haven't done long before the test arrived.
My name is Thomas Crossan. I'm originally from Houston, Texas. I own a real estate photography, marketing, drone videography company. I'm also a coaching client of Clay's. I think so far in the conference we've learned some little things that we've been doing wrong maybe the whole time, and just little tweaks that we can make that'll really help our business keep growing. I really like the energy at the conference, having everyone here. It's a really good environment and really gets you excited to be with like-minded people that are all kind of focused on the same goal for each of their businesses. Clay's great. He's super excited. Very high energy. He's got good stories. It's nice to hear stories from someone that has practical experience and that's done it, and not just some guy that you don't know anything about, that you can't verify any of his stories. You can't verify anything about his companies. Everything about Clay, you can look up. You can read about the companies and see that it's all real stuff. It's big. It's exciting. A lot of motivational stuff. The pinion wood is great. I think if you don't come to the conference, you're missing out on kind of that full experience from starting business day one, how to set your branding, to how to grow, how to hire, fire people, how to do interviews. A lot of conferences focus on one aspect of business, whether it be marketing or SEO, or starting or growing or getting funding. The Thrive conference really has a lot that encompasses all that, so it's a lot more benefit for one conference.
My name is Gretchen Mikulich, and I'm from Dallas, Texas. I own a real estate media company. I'm a business coach client with Clay, so I work with him every week. Our business is at a stage where we're really trying to learn processes, so I think that's one of the key things we took away is how to learn how to build processes that are sustainable and that our employees can follow and make it simple for anyone to follow. We learned about processes, we learned about finance, we learned about HR, you name it. They went over everything. There's a lot of value that they taught, and I'm really glad we came. We really enjoyed Clay. I mean, he's a great guy, he's personable. Everything about the conference is just, you learn a lot and also you have a good time. You meet a lot of people and it's really fun. It's high energy, people are pumped, everyone wants to be successful. You definitely gotta check it out. Other conferences are all kind of showsy, salesmanshipy, try to upsell you. This conference is not like that at all. It's very grassroots, teach you exactly how to do stuff. It's very raw, open. They don't play any games, no gimmicks. If someone does not attend, they're missing out on how to grow their business. I mean, successful people meet with successful people and they learn from successful people, so.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Thomas Crossan, owner and founder of Full Package Media in Dallas, Texas. I've been a coaching client with Clay Clark since the beginning of our business. We started about a year ago, August of last year. I had no clients, no idea what we were doing, no clue really what was going on. And now we've grown to where we've got 6 photographers, we've got office space here. I have an admin, sales person that works for us full time. Developing an online system, and a lot of that growth we attribute to Clay helping us. And there's so many things that, his stuff is not revolutionary. It's not this crazy walk on hot coals and all this stuff. It's just real stuff. And like group interviews, we were totally against group interviews. We were like, no, we're different and we're special, and we need to do one-on-one interviews so we can find good quality candidates and not just kind of do this group interview thing. And we tried that and we failed miserably. We did group interviews, now we do them every 2 weeks, and it's awesome. It works good. We always have kind of an influx of new people that we can train, get going. He's helped us a lot with our website, graphic design, SEO. SEO is another thing that I thought before I started this business and before Clay that it was kind of a joke, or something that only your Apples of the world and Amazon could get to the top of Google. But Clay said, no, just do these things, follow these steps, and you'll get there. And I think now we look today and we're number 2 for Dallas real estate photography. If you don't believe it, you can look. So we're getting to the top of there. That's really cool. It's really awesome to get leads that people will call you and say, hey, I found you on Google. We want to hear about your services. So that's really great. I'd say there's nobody out there that's not a good coaching client for Clay. Anyone, regardless of the business, it's not about what the business is, what the specialty is. It's about following the steps, doing what he says. It's a good thing. An hour a week, it gets you on track and keeps you kind of in line of what you're doing and what you shouldn't be doing. And it's good to kind of give you some flow and future goals of your business. And I remember our first meeting, we set our goals, and our goal was to do 16 shoots a week. and at the time, me and my business partner / girlfriend Gretchen were like, "Oh, we're never gonna do 16 a week. That's just like crazy." And today we're doing 9, and we did about 54 last week. So he's helped us grow. You know, we put in a lot of hours, a lot of hard work as well. But if you follow his steps and do what he says, there's a lot of principles that he's kind of taught and instilled in us that help us. So yeah, Clay Clark is the way to go. I wouldn't venture out to find someone else. They'd be more expensive and a lot more fluff and no real actionable work and things to get your business growing. So that's the way to go. Thanks.
In a Fox 23 television exclusive, a local company is taking small businesses to new leaps and bounds by linking them up with world-class education from millionaires, moguls, and everyday success stories. Fox 23 Sharon Phillips is live downtown on why it could have a big impact on our local economy.
It's already changing the face of small business right here in Tulsa.
We have to determine that we're going to live before we die.
One quick glance at this wall, and it's clear that CEO Clay Clark knows what he's talking about. Right now, he is one of America's most sought-after business and entrepreneurship coaches. He's working to teach entrepreneurs specifically what they need to start and grow a business.
Marketing, sales, PR.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him. Character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart, and I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good, and then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But his, I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
What's up, Sean? Good to see you.
Good to be back, Joe. Thanks.
You're still alive. You've been eating nothing but meat, and you're still alive.
I am still alive.
Doubters be gone.
Yeah.
When I just eat mostly meat, I feel so much better. I mean, maybe it's anecdotal, maybe it's just me and you, maybe and many other people that do it, but there's something to it. But you're an extreme example because you have been doing it now for how many years?
So I'm starting my 8th year. So just
8th year.
Yeah. So when I came to see you last time, it was 6 years ago. So I'd been just finished 7 years now. So yeah, it's been a while.
And people should know that you're actually a doctor. You're an orthopedic surgeon, and you didn't at one point in time they took your license away because you were providing medical information, but you got it back?
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting thing. So when I was practicing medicine, busy orthopedic surgeon, plugging away, doing a thing, and then I started realizing, hey, I can have people avoid surgery by changing their diet. Their pain went away. I was like, you don't need surgery. Well, that is not what hospitals want you to do.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, Why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Started from the bottom, now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to.
Okay, Thrive Nation, here's the story, true story. One of my clients, Nace Roberts and Jordan Roberts, so they are brothers, they have beards, Nace and Jordan Roberts, they came into my office, and I'm going, you look like half of you is missing. And they said, Clay, we're on this all-meat diet thing. And I'm going, is that healthy? Is that good? Are you gonna make it? I don't know if this is a good deal, bad deal. I don't know enough about it, but what are your thoughts? And they said, no, this is a thing. This is a good thing. There's a guy who wrote a book about it. Let me pull this up real quick. And I thought, I don't know if this is a thing. And so they said it is a thing. And by the way, their company, it's called Grid Down Chow Down. They're kind of they have a meat bias. Okay, they sell meat that doesn't have mRNA technology in it. So when you go to Target and they sell synthetic meat or the genetically modified meat, they don't sell that kind of stuff. So they have a bias towards meat. And I thought to myself, they're good guys. They've been a client of mine for like 7 years. They like meat. I like meat. I'll look into it. So then I watched Dr. Sean Baker's interview with Joe Rogan, blew my mind. And then we were at the last conference, and this guy by the name of Rick, there he is on camera. Rick came up to me, and he said he lost 87 pounds in 6 months since hearing the presentation of Dr. Sean Baker and implementing it. Again, Dr. Sean Baker spoke at one of our in-person business workshops. And Slick Rick here, he's down 87 pounds in 6 months. 92 pounds in my face, 92 pounds. And then here's Thomas Crossan, the founder of a great company in Dallas, Texas, longtime client called Full Package Media. And Thomas, how much weight have you lost, sir? I think you're muted somehow. Did I mute you, or are you muted somehow? Let me see. There might be a mute there. That's not a passive aggressive editing thing from me. He's coming right back. So you lost how much, Rick?
I'm down 92 today in 171 days.
And so, Sean Baker, I watch you online. You are really, really aggressively stating the facts and warning people about the dangers of Ozempic and other weight loss medications. And I thought, sir, we have to have an opportunity for you to hear from actual people that are implementing your carnivore diet. Does it shock you, sir, to hear the kind of results that have been seen by Rick here?
No, not at all. I mean, this is kind of routine for me. I see people losing 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, 200, 300. We got a lady that lost 500 pounds in 2 years on this diet. So, yeah, I mean, weight loss is a pretty typical thing we see. And some people, and maybe Rick can speak to this, is you kind of find you get this point of satiety where you actually you don't crave all the garbage. Your appetite is finally, sated for the first time maybe in life. And so it becomes very easy when you're not starving all the time to sort of stick to a routine and meat. You'd mentioned Ozempic, and certainly, we know that people are losing weight on Ozempic, but there are some potentials for some real issues with that, whether they're really bad side effects with, gastroparesis or, suicidal thoughts or, intestinal obstructions, or I just saw a couple studies on blindness and erectile dysfunction. So there's issues with that. But the mechanism by which it works, it stimulates these hormones called incretin hormones in our body, GLP-1 being one of them. But meat actually does that naturally, and it does it, in a more physiologically appropriate manner, where it does it when it's supposed to, and then comes on, comes off. Whereas these drugs, it just stays on all the time, and so people are having issues turning up in the ER, throwing their guts out, throwing up like crazy, or they're losing all the muscle mass. And so this is maybe, there may be some things you can do prior to jumping on the drug bandwagon, which is unfortunately a criticism of the healthcare system. We just kind of drugs first, and we don't really give much to lifestyle.
Thomas, are you with us there? Is it working there,
Yeah,
sir?
can you hear me?
Okay, yes. So I got to ask you, how much weight have you lost there, sir?
81 pounds as of this morning. So,
okay, so I'm going to try to tee this up because I really want to hear from you guys, and I don't want to hear from myself. So first question, Thomas, how long have you been on this diet, this carnivore diet that you're on now?
So I've been doing it kind of on and off for 2 years, but then in the last 90 days, really been doing just 100%. I was doing more kind of paleo meat based before, and then just switched to just 100% meat, eggs, just animal products. And in 70 days, I've lost 30 pounds.
And Rick, how long have you been on the diet again? And how much weight have you lost?
So I started July 1st. I was at 233.2 pounds or something. And this morning I was just under, or I was 323.3. And this morning I'm down like 92 pounds. I'm under 100 or 232 pounds.
So when did you decide, you're at the conference, Dr. Sean Baker is speaking, when did it occur to you where you're going, you know what, I'm going to do this diet?
Well, like I said, he was speaking and I was sitting there in the audience. I ordered his book online. We left there on Friday. It showed up at my house on Saturday, and I hate reading books. And I made it through about chapter 6, and I'm like, this just makes sense because I was never one to eat vegetables to begin with. But I ate all the standard American crap that was there, and the carbs, potatoes, corn, everything, fatten up a pig. That's what I was eating. So I decided July 1st I would go on. My wife decided to do it with me. She's down 40 pounds and I'm down 92 pounds.
And so, Thomas, when did you decide to get on the carnivore diet?
About 2 years ago is when I really started, at least meat based, and then I really just got to the point where was like, okay, it seems like there's no reason to be eating the vegetables and that kind of thing, and just went to strictly meat. I've followed Dr. Baker for years and years, and one of my doctors, he's like, you should only eat red meat once a month at max, and then I went to it, and as I've been doing it, checked my CRP levels like a week ago, and they're the lowest they've been since 2019. So
now, one final question, then I'm going to go back to Dr. Baker here. So many people say, well, Clay, I want to do the carnivore diet. The questions I got asked a lot at the conference is people would say, hey, if you get a chance to ask Dr. Sean Baker, when I go on the carnivore diet, how much vegetables can I eat? Like, how many can I eat? If I'm on the carnivore diet, how much cereal can I have? If I'm on it, the carnivore diet, if I'm on a strictly carnivore diet, how much salad can I have when I go to Outback Steakhouse? What's the maximum amount of potatoes I can have with the steak at Outback? So, Dr. Baker, I just want to ask you, if someone's on the carnivore diet, what's the maximum amount of, or how much vegetables should they be eating with the meat on the carnivore only diet?
Well, if it's technically a carnivore diet, you're eating none. Essentially. Now, again, the nice thing about it is it's very clear. You're either on it or you're off it. Now, is it going to kill somebody to have a piece of lettuce once in a while? For most people, no. But there are people, honestly, that, for whatever reason, things we would otherwise consider normal, healthy foods, unprocessed fruits and vegetables, can actually be problematic for certain people. And this really gets into people with certain autoimmune conditions, certain gut issues. We've just published a number of scientific papers, case series on, inflammatory bowel disease, anorexia, anxiety, depression, and then there'll be one soon coming out on multiple sclerosis. And so we're seeing for certain medical conditions, it's pretty good. It makes sense to be strict. For some people that are dealing with things like food addiction, the strictness just makes it easier. Some people cannot be, moderators. They've got to abstain for a while. So I think in the strictest sense of a carnivore diet, there's no fruits, there's no vegetables. It's pretty much animal products. It's meat, it's eggs, it's, some people dairy products, it's seafood, things like that. However, could you get healthy on a diet where you're mostly meat and a few other foods? Certainly, many people can. Although, like I said, this is so simple. I mean, my dog could do it, and my dog does. I mean, it's not hard to explain. Hey, just eat a bunch of meat every day, and that's it. And it's as simple as that. I look at, when I look at, feeding of animals throughout the world, it's not complicated. I mean, we're the only species that needs menus and apps and all this, this crazy sort of complexity when it should be just eat. And it's simple as that. And I think these guys will probably attest to the simplicity and the actual, again, satiety that comes to this.
So I gotta go back to you, Thomas. So you're on this diet. I mean, you're living it, you're into it, you're doing it, you're seeing the results. But there had to be like some inner dialogue maybe going on, some inner thoughts. I don't know. When you're going, I'm on the carnivore diet, but I'm going all in on the carnivore diet, which you've done now. Was there can you kind of walk us through the inner dialogue or what you were saying to yourself or thinking, or just walk us through, because there's somebody watching this right now that needs to hear this.
I think one of the biggest things was, like Dr. Baker said, is like it's hard. It's easy to follow. It's not one of these diets where you have to count calories or think about every single food and what's the glycemic index of it and all that stuff. It's like meat, eggs, maybe cheese. And that makes it easy. So I just was like, okay, let's make it black and white, jump on it, see how it goes, test blood work, that sort of thing, and see how it goes. So for me, that was one of the easiest things, is just the ease of following it. And I like steak.
So let me ask you this. So Rick, you're going to, let's say, Outback tonight, okay? You're going to Texas Roadhouse tonight. You're going somewhere to eat. I mean, you guys are both entrepreneurs. Thomas has a wonderful company called fullpackagemedia.com. They offer real estate photography solutions for people in Dallas, I believe also in Austin, Texas. It's fullpackagemedia.com, fullpackagemedia.com. You are the HVAC master, which leads me to believe you're somehow involved in HVAC. So when you're out there on a busy schedule, what are you eating? What are you eating?
I love going to Texas Roadhouse, and they don't have it on their menu, but our local Texas Roadhouse usually has larger cuts of steak. So I'll get the 24-ounce Fort Worth ribeye, or sometimes they'll have some up there that are 28, 29 ounces. When I first started doing carnivore, I'd go out at lunch when I'd have a lunch meeting or that, need a 16-ounce ribeye, and that was the only thing on my plate. And then I'd go home and I'd cook another one. And to Dr. Baker's, your satiety level, I would get stuffed, and I would leave this little 2-inch cube of steak in the middle of my plate, and I'm like, you hit a wall, and your body says, "Hey, I'm done eating." And that beautiful, tasty, juicy ribeye all of a sudden wants to make you gag, and you hit that level, and you don't need to eat anymore, and you're not hungry. You're not up an hour and a half later grabbing a bag of chip and dip because you're having a sugar drop, carb spike and everything. So I started very quickly doing OMAD because it is one meal a day. And I had my butcher cut me some 1.5-inch ribeyes, and once a day I have like a 28-ounce ribeye for dinner, and that's all I'll eat all day long.
Dr. Baker, I know someone's watching this going, what? Is this healthy? Are they going to die? Now you, sir, you sat down with a very skeptical Joe Rogan many years ago, or a few years ago, and when you're watching the interview, watching his body language and yours, you were bringing the facts, you're presenting data. He was being respectful, but you could tell he was very skeptical of what you were saying. You challenged him or talked to him or convinced him or something. He decided to get on the carnivore diet. He had phenomenal results. Could you tell us what kind of feedback has the carnivore diet had? Or what kind of feedback are you getting from America since going on those Joe Rogan interviews?
Yeah, like you said, the very first time he was obviously skeptical. He looked at me like I had a third eyeball, in my head, because I was talking crazy talk, which is what it sounds like the first time you hear it. Second time I went on Rogan's podcast, very different story. He'd experienced it. He had friends that had done it. He realized that this, I wasn't just making this stuff. It actually works. And so I think what we've seen over the last couple of years, in many ways, to sort of parallel what's going on politically in this country, a lot of people are sort of skeptical of, various, entities and organizations which we once held with high esteem. We're kind of like, wait a minute, you guys are not telling the truth, and you're leaving out some details. So I think we've seen a general trend where more and more people, at the very least, have come to start to believe that no, red meat is not killing us. It's not bad for us. It's not killing the planet. It's actually a health food. And so I think we're getting that seen by more and more people. Probably, a significant portion of the country believes that, and certainly a lot of them are seeing the results, because it's undeniable this time. If you just quickly, you can go on any sort of social media platform and type in carnivore diet, you're going to see obviously the critics, but you're going to see just thousands upon thousands of testimonials where this works, and it just does. It's the only reason I promote something, this sort of thing, is because it clearly works, and it works for many, many peoples of all various stripes, shapes, sizes, ages, sex, cultural backgrounds, whatever it is. It just plain works. And so, I mean, I think at the end of the day, good things usually, rise to the top, and I think that's what we're starting to see.
Now, what I'm going to do here, just to spice it up a little bit today, is I'm going to pull up our webpage here for the Thrivetime show for our in-person workshop. We have Eric Trump joining us. That's President Trump's son, who, by the way, eats a primarily carnivore diet. I've seen him actually lose almost 40 some odd pounds on the Reawaken tour by eating pretty much only meat. Then you have Robert Kiyosaki, best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So anybody watching this right now, if you want to join this diet, here's what we're going to do. Right now, okay, so we're recording this on December 19th, so we have 76 days until the event. If you will join the carnivore diet, whatever that means, so these are the steps you have to do here. So you go to Amazon, okay, and we're going to buy a copy of the book here. So we're all going to Amazon. And Slick Rick, you bought a copy of this book. Thomas, do you have a copy of this book, The Carnivore Diet?
I do.
Okay, so this is what you do. What you do is you buy a copy of The Carnivore Diet. That's step one. So what do? You buy a copy. You say, well, where do I find it? You go to Amazon. You type in Sean Baker Carnivore Diet. We'll put a link on the show notes. There you go. You buy a copy. That's step one. You buy a copy of the book. Now, step two, what you're going to do is just text me proof that you bought the book. You say, text you. How do I have your number? I shall give you my number. My cell phone number that I keep private between you and me and everybody is 918-851. That's 918-851. Let me pull it up real quick here. It's on the screen. 918-851-0102. So step one, you buy a copy of the book. Step two, you send me a screenshot or proof of purchase. Then you're entered in for a chance to win the backstage pass to meet Dr. Sean Baker, Eric Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, and a great team of speakers we're bringing in here. So all you got to do is buy the book and text me proof that you bought it, and you'll be entered in for a chance to win a backstage pass, so you can talk to Dr. Baker, you can talk to Eric Trump, you can talk to Robert Kiyosaki. And then I would invite you to start this diet. But I think there's somebody out there, Thomas, who's smart. And I'm going to pick on you, Thomas, because you're one of the smartest people I know. You're a smart guy. And smart people, you're researching. Thomas, for anybody who doesn't know, Thomas is a researcher. Thomas, you'd put a lot of research into your company. That's just the way you think. I would describe you as an intellectual who also does things. You're a smart guy. You think, you contemplate. There's got to be somebody out there, Thomas, who's watching the show, who's smart like you are and as smart like you were, and they're going, I just all meat. I mean, I don't know. Will I get abducted by an alien? Is it going to kill me? I don't know. Is it safe? Is it healthy? But Bill Gates says I shouldn't eat meat at all. What do you say, Thomas, to the intellectual skeptic?
I think I would say, if you just look at it from a fundamental standpoint of how long animals and humans have been on the earth, and we've eaten meat that whole time, and we're all still here. And if you look at most of the health problems that, the modern American diet and processed foods and sugar and all those things have brought into place, is like, it just, and that's what made me switch to just saying, okay, I'm going to go all in and do it 100%. Is it just seemed logical of like, meat's been here, humans have been here, we've been eating meat for millions of years. It's probably not going to kill you. So I think if you're on the fence, it's like, just try it. Like you're not, I know people worry about like cholesterol and stuff like that, but if you try it for a month, 3 months, 6 months, like it doesn't seem like it should take much to convince you to try it versus trying eating, Lucky Charms every morning and McDonald's for dinner and, that kind of stuff.
Now, we have a clip here, Dr. Baker, I want to play for you. This is from America's health expert, Bill Gates. Just incredible individual. Let me play this here. He's just incredible, really a specimen when it comes to health and fitness. Here we go.
Cows and other grass-eating species have a digestion system that emits methane. And methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change. Cows? cows, just cows alone.
How are we going to do that?
Well, actually, of all the categories, the one that has gone better than I would have expected 5 years ago is this work to make what's called artificial meat. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well, and you like it?
Absolutely.
You do.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you in terms of less cholesterol. It's, of course, dramatic reduction in methane emissions, animal cruelty, manure management, and the pressure that meat consumption puts on land use.
There is, of course, a clear financial motive to Gates's plan.
Oh, come on. There's not a clear financial motive for Bill Gates to tell you to eat synthetic meat. Dr. Baker, what's your reaction, sir?
Well, I mean, the one on the good side, he's no longer quoting this livestock's long shadow thing that says 14 or 18% of the greenhouse gases come from. So at least that's on the pro side. He's more in line with what's actually going. And we do know that, cows emit something like 5% of our greenhouse gas, actually all animal agriculture. But the reality is that is biogenic methane, which has been going on since whenever it started. We've had animals, large grazing animals doing that. That methane is short-lived. It goes in the atmosphere, turns back into carbon dioxide and water, and then it feeds and waters the plants. And, that's the cycle. That's a cycle of nature. This is literally what the earth is roaming, grazing animals on the planet. And so, I mean, what he's doing is basically creating a solution to a problem that doesn't really exist and financially benefiting from that. So, I mean, you can see, this is an older clip, so you can see what's happened to Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger, particularly Beyond Meat, which had its IPO several years ago, and now it's gone from a $250 stock price to like $3 or $4. And so it's probably going to go bankrupt unless the government props it up. These alternative meat products are in no way healthier than meat. There's no evidence that they're any more environmentally sustainable. In many cases, they're likely less sustainable. And to make the assumption that just because I'm not eating a steak means no animals are dying, there couldn't be anything farther from the truth. You can talk to anybody that raises crops; they will tell you that by the use of pesticides and just preparing the land, there's massive death of species going on. So it's all sort of it's come across, it's portrayed as altruism, but it's really greed. It's not like we're going to save the planet by doing this. It's just we're gonna create a new market and take your money that way, and it's not gonna help you in any way. It's really not gonna help the planet in any better way. So the better thing we can do is actually put more cows in the ground and then just graze them in a way that tends to be more favorable to the land, and that's clearly demonstrated and doable. So that's the real solution here.
So let me tee this up again here real quick. Let me tee this up again. So for anybody out there, you say, well, I do want to win a backstage pass to meet Eric Trump. Again, you say, how much does it cost again? All you got to do is you go up to Amazon. Okay. You search for the carnivore diet. You buy the book. Boom. Step one. Step two, you text me proof that you bought the book. Now you're entered in for the chance. You're entered in for a chance. All you got to do is just text me 918-851-0102. Just text me that you have bought the book. Screenshot this. By the way, we helped Kash Patel become a best-selling author by doing this. Kash Patel went to the top of Amazon in one day by doing this. We have helped Peter Navarro. We helped Peter Navarro become a best-selling author by doing this. I am doing this simply because I really do deeply care about Thomas, and I deeply care about Rick. And you guys have told me, I didn't call you and say, hey, are you guys on the carnivore diet? You guys we're just talking about things, and I told you guys that Sean Baker was coming back to one of our workshops. And Thomas, you said, Clay, I've been on the carnivore diet. And again, how much weight have you lost, Thomas?
81 pounds.
So there's people watching this who are like, I just have concerns. And I'm sure there's people around you, Thomas, people in your life, family, friends, neighbors. I'm sure they've asked you questions. What are the areas of pushback that you may have gotten from family, friends, concerned people that actually care about you that maybe said, I don't know, is that good for you? Have you had those kind of questions?
Definitely have. I'd say probably the number one thing that people talk about is cholesterol. And, they point to that as an immediate, like, hey, your cholesterol is going to go up, especially with eggs, red meat. And so that's what I hear the most is, well, your cholesterol is going to skyrocket and you're going to need to go on a statin. And, I don't I don't really worry about it. I'd be interested to hear what Dr. Baker has to say, because mine has gone up a little bit. Nothing crazy, but went up from like my LDL from 122 to 140 in 6 months, which I know is not crazy. But my triglycerides have gone way down. HDL's gone up. So that's the biggest thing that I hear from people.
Dr. Baker, hey, Vanessa, come here. My wife is in the studio. Come here real quick here. We got to get you in real quick. Throw on some headphones. You got to get her. Okay, so Dr. Baker, got to ask you real quick here. Will someone's brain explode, and will they die of cholesterol if they eat only meat for 30 days?
No, unlikely. And just I know that was kind of asked in a little humorous way, but the reality is we do sometimes see people's cholesterol rise on low carb diets in general, and we now kind of have a pretty good idea why that is. And it's not because they're consuming more saturated fat. It's really associated with how lean they get. So as we get leaner and leaner, and we rely more on fat for energy rather than glucose for energy, our body just has to traffic more lipid in the blood vessels so we can feed our cells. And the question is that reason for high cholesterol different from someone who's, say, obese and just eating too much energy? They both can cause cholesterol to go up, but there's two different reasons for that. And we are getting more and more evidence to show that when you become leaner and less dependent on glucose and you have higher lipids trafficking, there's something called the lipid energy model. There's about 10 scientific papers on this that have been published now, that there's probably good evidence increasingly, and we're doing more and more studies on this to show that that may not be the risk factor for cardiovascular disease that we once thought it was. So there, like many things, there's some nuance here. And generally, I would say both of these guys, probably their quality of life and their overall health has improved probably pretty dramatically. Weight or whatever it is pretty generally health promoting.
Now, Vanessa, just real quick, this is Thomas Cross. You know Thomas.
I know Thomas.
He's
yes.
down 81 pounds by eating only meat. Look
Great
at this
job.
guy.
Congratulations.
He's unbelievable.
Thank you.
I was trying to focus in the camera. I was trying to zoom in to see him. I'm like, where is he? I know he's in the studio. Where is he? And then you've got over here Slick Rick. Slick Rick, how much weight have you lost in 6 months?
92 pounds.
Wow.
And these homeboys are eating only meat all the time. So I'd like for you to bring a voice of sanity here and perhaps a little estrogen. You know, you're a mom. We've got 5 kids. What question or questions would you have for Dr. Baker about the idea of eating only meat all the time?
Well, I 100% believe that it works. And I'm just an oddball where I'm one of those kids who was super picky, never had a bite of steak in my entire life. The kid, so I'm not a vegetarian. It's not because I feel bad. I'll eat eggs. I'll eat chicken if it's not weird. It's immensely in my mind. So I think for someone like me, maybe it's the most of, I try to add protein powder in and collagen and eggs.
Dr. Baker, can't we just take a perch in a pitcher, like in a blender, put like a perch in a pitcher and we blend it up and just have her liquefy and puree fish and meat and that kind of thing? Or what would be the solution for somebody as troubled as my wife?
Well, I mean, you could do that. I don't know how it
works. I know that works. I just have a mental thing. So yeah.
Well, I mean, some of it, it depends on how you grew up. And my wife, to be honest, she's from France and she was vegetarian for like 20 years and she still eats steak now, but she will not cook it. She has to have it well done, which drives me crazy a little bit, but because she just wasn't used to that idea of thinking it's blood. And by the way, there's no blood in meat. Meat isn't, that red stuff is not blood, it's myoglobin. So it's not actual blood that people worry about. I think that, while many of us on this carnivore diet do consume a lot of like beef and lamb, particularly, primarily beef, there's people that have had success consuming, eggs and pork and fish and things like that. So it's doable from that way. The problem that you often run into is because fat becomes so valuable on this diet, red meat just tends to have a little bit more fat. Cows are fattier animals than, say, chickens. And so you run into issues of not consuming enough fat. And so then you have to augment energy. Now you can add butter and all this stuff on there, one way to do it. But a lot of people, they just find it's easier to consume carbohydrates. And so that's why, if we look at like the history of humans, we hunted for a while, we killed these big animals, they kind of ran out. We had to end up hunting skinnier animals, which didn't have as much fat. So then we had to augment our energy supply with more and more plant products. And then we developed agriculture. And then we kind of went downhill as a species since that time. We got smaller, our brains shrunk, our bones got weaker. It helped us, agriculture certainly helped us to grow societally, we had civilization and allowed for us to stay in one place and not have to kind of roam around chasing animal herds. But it had an individual detriment to our overall, human health. So, like some people, I'm sure, Chloe, you have excellent access to really high quality meat. I mean, sometimes like my wife in particular, she still doesn't like the fat. If I cook a ribeye steak, she's cutting all the fat off, which drives me crazy. So I get around that by getting like a really well marbled, like a USDA prime, maybe a tenderloin, which has more fat marbled, but it doesn't have those pockets of fat, which can be off-putting for some people. So getting enough fat in there if you're going to go carnivore. Now, if you're not, just including more protein would help many people.
That'd be the road for me, is just kind of try to
Well, I'm
integrate.
trying to convince you to switch to a carnivore diet. I'm trying to convince Thomas to convince you to switch to a carnivore diet. No, I'm just kidding. So, Slick Rick, I got to ask you, you've lost, again, I'm just taking notes here. I want to make sure I'm not exaggerating. 92 pounds in how many days?
171 days today.
So what questions or concerns do people in your life have when they go, Rick, are you only going to eat meat again? What questions do they have?
Oh, so many people. They bring up the cholesterol. I had blood work done 75 days in, and my cholesterol dropped 30 points. Doctor was ecstatic. My insulin had dropped and everything. Of course, everyone's like, oh, you're not eating any fiber. You're going to have colon cancer and all that. And he'll contest, when you eat nothing but meat, it's pure nutrition. When it comes to, having your bowel movement in the morning, there's not a lot there because your body absorbs it. When you eat all the standard American crap, you end up with a lot of crap.
Oh, okay. So, Thomas, I'm going to give you an opportunity, and I want my wife to think about the perfect question to paint Dr. Baker into the corner here. So, Thomas, what question would you have for Dr. Baker about the carnivore diet, sir?
Yeah, so I think my biggest question, so I have ankylosing spondylitis. I was diagnosed with that when I was like 15. And I've been on Celebrex ever since then. And curious to hear your thoughts on like managing that with carnivore. And obviously the goal there would be to get off medication. I just was able to cut my dose in half a couple weeks ago because that CRP number was so low. And again, my doctor for that is don't eat red meat once a month. That's it. That's max. So curious to hear your thoughts on that and kind of how to manage that, and if that's possible to hopefully get medication free with that.
Yeah, so those aren't familiar with ankylosing spondylitis. It's what we call an inflammatory arthropathy. So kind of like in the category of like rheumatoid arthritis, we have these autoimmune inflammation-driven arthritis conditions. And carnivore diet has been wonderful for allowing people to see their inflammation drop. As he just pointed out, his CRP was very, very low, which is what we'd expect to see. If red meat were inflammatory, we wouldn't see that. We would expect it to go high. So as those inflammatory markers go down and your symptoms go away, the back pain goes away, maybe if you have SI joint pain or something along I would expect you to be able to continue to taper and hopefully come off those drugs. We see that all the time now. Again, what I will say is that when we have people with these medical conditions, whether it's ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, ankylosing spondylitis, rheumatoid arthritis, it usually takes 6 months, a year of a fairly strict diet to sort of put that completely in remission, get people off medications when it does occur. And then at that point, some people are able to loosen things up a little bit. They're able to bring some things back in. So I don't sort of sit there as this is what you're going to have to eat for the rest of your life. I consider a carnivore diet a therapeutic intervention. Minimum for most people is about 3 months. Some people need it 3 months, 6 months, a year. And then most people that do this over the long term will include periodically things here. And they're still going to eat a lot of meat. I mean, they're still going to be eating mostly meat, if not completely. Some people just like it because for the sake of being easy. But I mean, yes, you probably, because taking Celebrex every day, it's a COX-2 non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, it has downstream effects, kidney effects. It has effects on our overall health. So we want to get off medications whenever possible. There's no advantage to being on meds when you don't need to be on them, for sure. I think that's a pretty safe statement. So if you can get off that, if you got the cooperation of your doctor, I'm going to put in one plug for our company, Rivero, which we are a digital health company licensed in all 50 states. And we have physicians that actually do this on a daily basis. They deprescribe, they work with patients. Some of them are on carnivore, some are on some other, close version. And that's what we do. And it's been really, really fun to watch these people.
Real quick, I'm taking notes here, Dr. Baker. So I'm hacking away in the mainframe as you are sharing here. What's that web address there, sir? What's that web address?
So it's called Rivero, Revero, REVERO.com.
Okay, so that's Rivero.
And we are signing people up left and right. We just hired a bunch more positions, and so we do this, and we just basically we provide nutrition plans. We provide physician support. We provide coaches that interact with people on a daily basis if they need it. I mean, literally, they're contacting you every day to make sure you are getting your questions answered, getting support you need. We're checking labs all the time. We're checking feedback from our patients every day. We send them monitors to monitor stuff, and it's really. And I know, you said Eric Trump's going to be there. I know we've got this Make America Healthy Again thing, and this is a way to do this. This is a way that I'm very passionate about, is that we are, actually putting into practice what we've been preaching for many years. Because I've been a critic of the healthcare system just because I think we're incentivized the wrong way. We're doing all this reactionary, pill for every ill type of thing, when the reality is we should be fixing people's health so we don't have so many sick people. We wouldn't have to spend $4.5 trillion a year if we didn't have, 60, 70% of the country with chronic disease. And if we can fix that, it's going to go a long way to make our country better.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick before we go to Vanessa here. This is just an idea. I don't know if this will work, Thomas, if you're okay with this. But, now that you've lost all this weight, I mean, you're looking handsome. So if you could just kind of change it, Dr. Baker, if you could change the way you say it, you could say, Rivero, the health company. And you could put Thomas in as the model. Look at this. Look at Thomas. You get Thomas in here. Do you want to try Rivero? Yes. It's you want to get the sexy. See, Thomas, you could be like the male model for, all you got to do is, because Thomas looks like he would speak that way. If you didn't know him, you would think that he's
kind of swarthy looking. Yeah. He's got
check out Rivero and create the website to lose the weight. Yes.
I'm ready. I'm on the wait list. I'm ready to go.
Okay, so Vanessa, I know that you weren't planning on hopping on today's show, but I could see that you were behind me back there. I had to get you in here. What question would you have? Final question.
So, how much is of a concern, or do you think it's a concern? I think it's really important to eat high quality meats, like you mentioned. I know when I buy ground beef, it's grass fed. And now you hear about, of course, all the shots that they're giving the animals and mRNA injections, and I know hormones. How picky do you have to be about the meats you select, when you're eating only meat?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's, I think you can look at it from two ways, from an individual way and then as a societal way. I mean, are we, like I said, there's this Bovaer, substance they're going to feed the animals. This is something Bill Gates, I don't think he's directly invested, but he's investing in similar type things. And again, is it a solution to a problem we don't have? Is it unnecessarily driving up the costs and making it more expensive for farmers? Probably. I mean, it's going to put a lot of them out of business, to be honest. And so we're going to lose our access to that. On an individual level, I literally see people going to Walmart and buying meat and losing 100 pounds like these guys do. So, I mean, on a more sort of macro level, on a population level, I said, yeah, you can just eat what you can afford. And if you can't afford the best high-end stuff, you don't have to do that. Now, again, if your ethics and your beliefs and you want to promote ranching or farming in a certain way, then absolutely it makes sense to spend the extra couple bucks there to do that. But I mean, we're waiting on studies. I mean, I know some of the guys are doing some of the research on this, and we don't have any good studies on humans yet because it's just hard to get this stuff funded because everybody's putting their money in for drug development, and these types of things don't make a lot of money for people. So it's I can certainly say, don't feel guilty if you can't afford that stuff. If you can, and you certainly want to help these ranchers out, I would say buy direct from a rancher. I mean, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
It'll keep these guys in business longer. Like you guys are in Oklahoma, which is a huge cattle state. I know I was working with Clay Stairs on perhaps, having some Oklahoma folks do some research around this stuff. So it is probably more important, I should say, just based on the anatomy, the physiology and the anatomy of the animals, that you eat high quality fish, chicken, and pork, just because they're monogastric animals as opposed to ruminants, and they have less tolerance to crappy diet showing up in their meat. Whereas cows they're magic animals. They really are. I mean, they're just like the perfect species, and they can just turn whatever into really high quality, nutritious food for us, which is really cool.
Now, just to be clear, folks, I want people to understand this. Thomas, his company, it's called Full Package Media. They do real estate photography. He is not a model. Vanessa, you know this. Thomas is not a model. So I don't want people going to Full Package Media going, Excuse me, can I get the Rivero model? Is it possible? Can I hire him to come out and do my? No, it's not a modeling service. They do real estate photography, right, Thomas? You're not offering. I know the inquiries have really gone up for your male modeling services. You're not offering modeling services. It's just real estate photography, correct?
Not currently, but who knows?
Now, again, that's Rivero, folks. That's the website, Rivero. Yes. Check out Rivero if you want to get the sexy. Yes. Now, Slick Rick, you're a beautiful man, and you came to our business conference, and it was the craziest thing ever because I recognized your face, but I didn't. And you've lost how much weight? 92 pounds?
92 pounds, 171 days.
Craziness. So, final question. What final question do you have for Dr. Baker there? And then we'll do one final question from Thomas. What final question? Because everybody's online asking, if I'm on the carnivore diet, what can I eat? We established that early. You just only eat meat. Next question, people say, well, is eating the carnivore diet healthy? I think we've covered that. But what question would you have for Dr. Sean Baker?
I don't know if I got a question, but I'd say anybody who's interested in it. I think all of us have done all the major diets, the Weight Watchers, the intermittent fasting, all that. You pay money, you get on a plan, you restrict yourself, you're miserable on it. When you get off, you're like, God, I can eat again now. And then your weight comes back on. The thing about carnivore, you get on it, you're full. You're not, your diet's restricted, but you're not walking around in a hunger state. And I'm 51 years old. And I've never experienced hunger because I was a clock eater. 8:30 in the morning, I'm planning what I'm going to eat at 11 o'clock and who with and where we're going to go. And then calling the wife, what are we having for dinner? And then, snacks in the evening. And when I started carnivore, all that just kind of washed away. My whole relationship with food changed. And it wasn't all about just eating to be eating. You start learning that it's there for nutrition and food. And as people see you change, they start asking you questions. They're intrigued by it. I get people call me a couple times, and you start coaching them through, and then they always ask the question, can I still have a baked potato? Like, you can have whatever you want. It depends on the results you want to get. Nobody's going to come to your house and say, you're not a true carnivore. I have a cousin, his wife, and I'm curious about this because I hear so many doctors' opinions that I know from my own thing is like BS. Because I got one, he's 5'7" and he's 260 pounds and he's got a hernia. Doctor wants him to lose weight and they recommended gastric bypass. I'm like, how ridiculous is that?
Now, my wife, Dr. Baker, she stays thin by smoking. She started smoking about 6 months ago. That's to smoke her way to thin. That's what she does. She wasn't sure where to start, so she went and said, "What do you recommend?" I'm thinking about getting addicted to this one. Just mess with me. So, Thomas, what final question would you have for Dr. Baker, sir?
Yeah, I think my final question, and you kind of talked a little bit about it earlier, and I've heard you put out some stuff on the lean mass hyperresponder type person, individual. Is that, do you only see that in people that are, below a certain body fat percentage, or is that people that are kind of on that path to losing weight with any sort of low, no carb, carnivore based diet?
Yeah, that again goes to the cholesterol question. And so, like, as to the point of Rick, he said, my cholesterol actually went down. The reason it went down is because he was probably of a BMI, probably above class 2 obesity. And so when we see people that are significantly obese, when they go carnivore or low carb, their cholesterol usually comes down. But once they get to a certain threshold and they start getting like below BMI 25 and they start getting leaner and leaner, that's when we often see the cholesterol going up. And that gets into the question, is that dangerous or not? And that's where the answer is, we don't know for sure. It probably isn't, though, or at least there's evidence to suggest it's not. I think that, what we do show, and there was a really nice meta-analysis done in January of this year, 2024. They looked at 41 randomized controlled trials of low carb, and they found the biggest relationship, again, was lean body mass, most predictor for high cholesterol, higher body mass, it either doesn't matter or it actually goes down. And then, it's one of those things that, and saturated fat had very little impact. In fact, you can go on a low carb diet and eat all like olive oil and unsaturated fat, nuts and things like that, and you'll see your cholesterol go up. And people have demonstrated that. My friend Nick Norwitz, who is a Oxford PhD, Harvard MD, has shown that eating Oreo cookies, believe it or not, there's this, he actually was able to lower his cholesterol by eating Oreo cookies just because of this lipid energy model and what it would predict. And so he went out and he ate 12 Oreo cookies a day and dropped his cholesterol by 200 points just by eating Oreo cookies. Now, I'm not advocating for eating Oreo cookies as a health food, but it's just to demonstrate that this is what's going on. We know why it's happening now.
Now, let me pull this up here. Final thoughts. I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. If you want to meet the Rivero, and you want to meet, that would be Dr. Sean Baker, the Rivero, or you want to meet the man who wants to be the male model, potentially, who should be the male model for Rivero, and you want to meet Eric Trump, and you want to meet Robert Kiyosaki, and you want to meet my wife who's been smoking her way to thin for several. No. If you want to meet the dream team, all you got to do is step one. I got the steps here. Okay. So step one, you go to Amazon, you find the carnivore diet. This is how you win a backstage pass. You go to carnivore diet, you go to Amazon, you look for the carnivore diet, you buy a copy and you screenshot it. If you, for some reason, can't figure out how to screenshot it, draw me a picture of you buying the book. Do whatever you have, and then just text me to my cell phone number. We'll keep this private between you and me and everybody. That's my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. You text me proof of purchase, boom, you have a chance to win a backstage pass. As of right now, as of this morning, we have 214 tickets remaining for our in-person workshop. That's going to be accessible. That's the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. It's going to be March 6th and 7th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I affectionately refer to it as Tulsa Jerusalem. March 6th and 7th, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Everybody out there, you should come to this event. But if you want to win if you want to earn a chance to win a backstage pass, all you got to do is buy the book. That's the Carnivore Diet on Amazon. Text me proof of purchase to my cell phone number, 918-851-0102. And if you want to learn more about Rivero, and I know you do, what you do is you just go to Rivero.com. And if you feel like Thomas should replace this guy, I don't even trust this guy. I don't know who this guy is. But if you want Thomas to replace this guy, just text me to my cell phone number, folks. Seriously, just if you say, this guy has to get replaced with the true face of Rivero, Thomas Crossan. Just text my cell phone number, 918-851-0102, and I'll make sure that all of your feedback gets directly to Sean Baker, because I know he wants to spend his day talking to you about who his male model should be for his website, Rivero.com. Dr. Baker, you're the star of today's show, sir. I'll give you the final word, final 30 seconds. What say you?
Well, I say thank you. I'd love to see folks there in March in person. So if you haven't already purchased your ticket and you want to go get it, because I know they're going to go fast, and maybe we'll eat a steak together while we're there. Big thing, don't outsource your health to someone else. As a physician, I can tell you I care about my patients, but I only have like 15 minutes, 15 minutes a couple times a year to care about you. You got to live with the results 24/7. This is worth trying. You'll learn a lot of stuff about yourself, and it's very educational. And as what Rick was saying, you'll change your relationship with food. I think that's essential. So many of us have bad relationship with food. This fixes it in many ways. So give it a try and have great holidays.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to everybody. Thomas Crossan. Thank you, Slick Rick. I really do appreciate you. Yep. I mean this, folks. I was so excited to hear that Rick, he came up to me, he said, Clay, I've been on the carnivore diet since the workshop. I've lost over 80 pounds, mind blowing. I'm on the phone with Thomas talking about your results, Rick. He said, I've been on the carnivore diet. I'm just super excited to hear success stories. And if you guys want to learn about the controversial approach my wife has taken to smoking her way to thin, you can talk to her about that at our workshop. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Whoa.